Everyone, Bruce Eckholt here. So I am at my club in Manhattan, Norwood, hanging out. I've been in Toronto. I was out on Long Island today. I'm here tonight meeting a bunch of folks for drinks. And over the last couple of days, I've worked with a couple of organizations setting goals. Groups that are going through fairly major transitions, transformations, setting some goals that are really going to force them to rethink how they do things. I've always found that organizational development, organizational change is something that happens, I think, in very kind of irregular and sort of jarring ways. I think a lot of people see organizational change or organizational growth as kind of this sort of plant that grows a little bit every day and just kind of naturally gets bigger. And in fact, I think it's much more jarring. I think most organizations change in spurts, in periods of great turmoil, and then periods of stability. And I think a lot of people don't expect that. It's one thing that I spend a lot of times with teams on, is just kind of helping them understand that change is going to happen fairly quickly, and then they're going to have to figure out how to kind of stabilize, and then more change will happen. And I was watching a show last night, flew into LaGuardia and stayed on the island so I could be closer to this meeting. This morning, I was watching Blue Planet 2. I think it was I think that's the show I was on. It's just something kind of peaceful and relaxing to kind of decompress from travel before I go to bed. And they had this whole episode of this one episode that was on these crabs. I can't remember exactly where it was, but they get together in the ocean, and millions of crabs, and they go through a molting process where they shed their shells to be able to grow. And I realized that's how I see organizational change happening, much more than this kind of plant growing incrementally. Organization sort of reaches a point where the shell that they're in, the structure that they have, no longer serves them well and is holding them back, and they need to shed that shell and grow into a new one. But in that process, they're very vulnerable, they're very sensitive, they really need to plan it. There's a period of time where they are at risk, and they need to quickly move on to the next stage. So a lot of what I do with teams is really help them plan, what is that next, they're here, what does this next level look like? How can we move as quickly as possible to that next level? Because that in-between period is unstable, is uncomfortable, is inefficient, it can be unprofitable. So I would suggest if you're planning your growth, if you're thinking about growth, think about where is that next stable stage for you? What does that next stable organizational structure look like? And then how do you move to that level, to that next structure as quickly as possible, as efficiently as possible, because you getting stuck in the middle there can be very costly. Oftentimes you'll end up having to move back. If you can't make the jump quickly, you'll have to move back. Worse is you actually have to take a step back from that to recover. So think about that. Think about how you're going to plan the next stage. What does the next stable structure, a stable configuration of the company look like, and how do you move into that quickly? If you want to talk more about it, bruce@eckholt.com. Leave a comment below. I'd be curious to get your takes on this. I've written a little bit about this. I'll see if I can find a couple articles that I've put together on it. I'll link them below. But organizational change is not a slow burn process. It is rife with change and turmoil, and then stability, and the sooner you can find that next level, the better. So give it some thought. I'm curious to get your comments. Put them below.